Thank you, Andrew. Hello, everyone. My name is Kaushal Desai, and I would like to take this time and highlight Visionary Render by showing a few demos. Today, we will see how Visionary Render was used to do design reviews, floor layouts, and virtual training. Let's look at a scene now pulled up here. This scene was created for a customer to visualize testing of an engine in a test cell. By using the viewpoints on the left, you can fly to important parts of the scene like so. Now, let's load the motorcycle engine into the test cell. This test is meant to illustrate how the engine is loaded, how the tooling is engaged, and show RPM being generated by the engine. As the engine is loaded in a test cell and we engage the tooling, you can see the sensors on the right are turning green, indicating everything is in working order, and now we can start the test. Once we run the test, we can see how many RPM the engine is generating. And you can see higher RPMs as we shift the transmission into higher gear. Based on the results, the engineers can confirm any design flaws and identify risks ahead of time and can reject abnormal or substandard engines. Engineers can also use dynamic sections like this to get a clear view of inner workings of a component or to see if there will be any collision between moving parts and adjust tolerances as needed and fix their designs. In the same scene, there is a maintenance procedure training to replace driver shaft for the test cell. This takes the user through how to lock the test cell for procedure, change parts, apply lubrication, and reassemble parts. Creating a virtual testing scene greatly reduces lead time for customers as they were able to validate the design, test procedures without ever having to build a prototype, saving both time and money. For collaboration purposes, this scene can be collaborated upon across organizations to bring global teams together in one common virtual environment. So people from non-engineering backgrounds can use this visualization to understand the complex product and see how it works. As you can see here, collaboration with team members is as easy as going to File, Windows, Network, and providing their IP address and hitting the Connect button. By applying Visionary Render for design reviews, organizations can achieve up to 45% faster project completion, 40% cost reduction, 30% decrease in product development time, and up to 67% design sign-off based on virtual models alone. Of course, these numbers will vary from customers to customers. Let's look at an example of how Visionary Render can help with layout planning. This scene was created for a leading healthcare equipment supplier who had a problem of communicating design intent and layout of surgical rooms to their end customer. These surgical rooms are highly complex with many configurations of equipment to support different medical procedures, different combinations of medical teams, and personal preference on placement. The existing process used 2D architectural plans overlaid with symbols of each equipment. This often led to misunderstanding between the client and the supplier. With Visionary Render, the organization was able to create an immersive layout planning, enabling them to analyze performance and special implications of the equipment in the operating room. So the clinical design team was able to move the medical equipment and replicate their exact range of motion and control points as seen here. This allowed the team to check operating procedures in any combination. Another key feature the clinical design team used was the preset scenarios to quickly set up a new room. This allowed them to iterate between different proposed solutions, as seen here. To further add value, the clinical design team used a Visionary Render and the immersive headsets so the surgeons and anesthesiologists could experience the room on a one-to-one scale. This demonstrated how the room and proposed layouts would work. As they are looking around, they can discuss the line of sight and accessibility to the patient. They can use the measuring tool to find the distance between two equipment or operating staff, as seen here. Although this example was in the medical industry, keep in mind visionary render can help in layout planning across industry verticals, where it is crucial to do the right installation on the first try and reduce rework. For example, in the oil and gas industry, say if you have an inactive refinery which you want to start up and make modifications to. With this brownfield project, you can use visionary render to bring in point cloud data of the existing assets and bring in CAD data for new piping and other equipment and or machinery you wish to place in and around the refinery. With the help of visionary render, you'll be able to visualize the best installation sites, rerouting of utilities, measure distance of accessibility for repairs, piping clashes, and other obstacles. By planning for these issues, you can make the right decisions the first time, every time, and save a lot of downtime later due to rework and reduced cost. In the case of this customer, the visualization created by Virtalis provided clear understanding internally of the proposed solution they offered to their client. On the client side, it increased their confidence in the supplier. Since they were able to plan everything up front, there were fewer problems during the installation process. The client managed to reduce costly adjustments by over 30% and save several $100,000 due to improved understanding and being able to see issues earlier on in the design process. Let's look at our virtual training scene that was developed for one of our customers. The idea here is to have their employees immerse into a virtual dialogue, giving a feeling of presence without being there. There's motivation from the customer for using virtual reality to reduce costs and delays. The guided instructions in the scene are placed for new students but can easily be hidden to evaluate knowledge retention. This scene allows new engineers to rehearse the procedures before they service the real machine. By going to the virtual training, the engineer can run through the procedures to identify any possible problems in servicing. Also, stage sequences prevent removal of Part B before Part A and requires correct tools to be used. Being fully immersed in HMD, the engineer is required to physically move around the confined area to perform actions just as they would on the plant floor. Being able to run through the procedures 10 times in the time taken to do it once physically improves knowledge retention and saves time. By doing this training virtually, employees are not required to visit manufacturing plants or travel to remote locations. This keeps them away from dangerous situations and reduces the risk of costly production errors and downtime. With virtual reality training, teams can now react and prepare for serious incidents and rehearse for the best response. With virtual training, there will be less operational risk and there is less risk of costly, time-consuming, and potentially reputation-damaging safety incidents. Customers who have applied visionary render to create training scenarios such as this one have experienced ROI up to 78% improved retention, 40% faster required knowledge gained, 40% reduction in training costs, and up to 30% reduction in training time. Of course, these are just a few examples of what visionary render can do. Visionary render is the complete VR solution for supporting life cycle of your product in every stage, either from design, prototyping, sales, maintenance, operations, decommissioning, and it can also be connected with PLM system to build a digital twin. I'm hoping the demos I have shown today have sparked some interest, and if so, I welcome you to reach out to our sales team to talk about our product. With this, I pass it off to Paul McCall for the next session of this webinar. Thank you for your time.